Hi guys, I am Mushagwa and I am back again with Maths XYZ, and today I will be taking you through hyperbola functions. I will be taking you through hyperbola functions. With hyperbola, the standard equation that we have is f of x is equals to a divided by x minus p plus q. This is the standard equation for hyperbola. So what you have to take into consideration is a, which determines where the graph will lie. So if our a is greater than 0, then the graph that we'll have, it will lie in the first and the third quadrant. So if a is less than 0, then the graph that we'll have, it will lie in the second and the fourth quadrant. Alright, then another thing that we have to take into consideration is P. P is our vertical asymptote. And our Q is our horizontal asymptote as well. That's our Q. So another thing that we do with the hyperbola function is to find the axis of symmetry. So with the axis of symmetry, to find the equation of axis of symmetry, it's y is equals to x minus p plus q. And another equation of axis of symmetry is negative x plus p, and plus q as well. So these two are the equation of finding the axis of symmetry, the equation for axis of symmetry. So with axis of symmetry, for instance, if your a is greater than 0, then the point of intersection of the axis of symmetry, which is the point for this graph, it will be positive root a plus p, and the y-intercept would be positive root a plus q. So this is the first coordinates for if a is greater than 0. Then another point that you have, another coordinate if your a is greater than 0, is negative root a plus p and negative root a plus q. So this one is your x, this one is your y, this one is your x, this one is your y. So you will have 2 points if your a is greater than 0, so that you can find the point for this graph, or for this two graph for axis of symmetry. Then if your a is less than 0, then your coordinate will be, the first one will be negative root a plus p, and your y will be positive root a plus q, and another point will be positive root a plus p and negative root a plus q. Plus q. Right there it will be q. Alright, so with the hyperbola function, the standard equation is y is equals to a divided by x minus p plus q. Then if your a is greater than 0, we know that the graph will lie in the first and the third quadrant. So where the graph will lie, it's actually determined by a. And then if your a is less than 0, then that means the graph will lie in the second and the fourth quadrant. Then v and our p here, it's our vertical asymptote, and our q here is our horizontal asymptote. Then to find the axis of symmetry, the equation that we use is y is equals to x minus p plus q, and also y is equals to negative x plus p plus q. Then if our a is greater than 0, then to find the coordinate of the axis of symmetry, we have root a plus p is to root a plus q, of which this is our x and this one is our y coordinate. Then the same thing happens, we have 2 points, then this will be negative root a plus p into, and our y will be negative root a plus q. Then if our a is less than 0, then the coordinate of the axis of symmetry from these two equations, it will be negative root a plus p into root a plus q, of which this is our x, this one is our y coordinate. And then the same thing happens, we have 2 points as well. If your a is less than 0, of which it will be, the second one will be root a plus p, and our y coordinate will be negative root a plus q. Now let's just look at an example and see how we can apply this into a question. We have a question here, y is equals to 4 divided by x minus 2 plus 4. Remember our equation for hyperbola equations functions, it's a divided by x minus p plus q. A divided by x minus p plus q. This is our standard equation for hyperbola graphs. And remember, I've already said that if your a is greater than 0, that means that the graph will lie in the first and the third quadrant. So we already know now that our a is 4 is greater than 0. We already know that our graph, it will lie in the first and the third quadrant. Then what we also need to know is that our asymptote, our horizontal asymptote, which is p, is equals to 2, and our vertical asymptote, which is this is our vertical asymptote, p is equals to 2, and q is our horizontal asymptote, which is equals to 4. Then another thing that we must do, the same thing as parabola graphs, as a straight line graph, and any other graph, we must find the x and the y intercept. Then to find the y-intercept, we must make our x is equals to 0. Then this one will be y is equals to 4 divided by 0 minus 2. It will be negative 2 plus 4, of which the answer will be 4 divided by negative 2. It will be negative 2 plus 4, which will give us 2. Then that means that our coordinate for the y-intercept, it will be 0 is to 2. Then to find the coordinate for the x-intercept by making y-intercept, this is our x-intercept, by making y is equals to 0, it will be 0 is equals to 4 divided by x minus 2 plus 4, of which we will get x is equals to, we'll get x equals to, let me just do a quick calculation, negative 4. So we'll have our x is equals to 1. Then that means that the point that we'll have, it will be 1 is to 0. Now we have our points, it's a is greater than 0. We know that the graph will be in the first and the third quadrant. We know that our graph will lie in the first and the third quadrant. Then we know that our vertical asymptote, which is p, is equals to 2, and our horizontal asymptote, which is q, is equals to 4. Then, like any other graph, we have to calculate the y-intercept and the x-intercept, of which the y-intercept, we got 2, of which the coordinate will be 0 is to 2, and our x-intercept is x is equals to 1, of which the coordinate will be 1 is to 0. Now we can draw a graph from what we have before we can calculate the axis of symmetry. All right. Let me just make it. Then when we draw a graph, remember that we must always remember to have our x and y axis. So this is our y axis and this is our x axis. And you must always remember to name them, to write them down, that this is just to show that this is your positive and this is your negative. Then this is our x-axis and it's positive. This one is our y-axis and it's positive. This is our negative x-axis. This is our negative y-axis as well. Okay, the point that we had, it was our vertical asymptote, which is x is equals to 2. This is our vertical asymptote, and also our horizontal asymptote, which is equals to 4, and our coordinate, our x-intercept, it was 1:0, this is our x, and our y coordinate, it was 0:2. Then this is one is our y coordinate. Then from here, this is our point of origin, which is 0:0. And to draw our graph, we first draw by using we first draw our asymptote. This one, x is equals to 2, it's our vertical, and y is equals to 4, it's our horizontal. Then okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Remember guys, this graph is not drawn to scale, so I'm just showing you a rough sketch of how the graph will look like, but it's not drawn into scale. This is 2, this is 3. All right, -1, -2, -1 as well, -2, -2, -3, -3 there as well. Then our vertical asymptote is x is equals to 2, it's here. You show this by using dotted lines so that it doesn't interfere with the correct graph and with the axis of symmetry. Then our y is equals to 4, it's our horizontal asymptote. It's it should have been, sorry guys, it should I need a space right there. This is our 4. Y is equals to 4, it's right there, it's up there. Okay, we know that our graph, I think I need to erase this and start it all over again. I should take my graph here because I know that the graph will not come to the negative side of the graph. Alright, and you see that I won't be able to draw there because of space. Let me just take this axis down. I'll put this up as well again just now. Okay, I will have my y-intercept, my x-intercept, my x-axis here. Alright, this is my origin, it's 0, this is 1, this is 2, 3, this is 4, this is x-axis. Then this one is -1 and -2, -1, -2, -3. And then in the y-axis, I'm gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then our horizontal asymptote, let me just put those numbers up again. It was x is equals to our vertical asymptote is equals to 2, y is equals to 4, it's our horizontal asymptote, and our coordinate, we have 1:0, which is our x-intercept, and 0:2, which is our y-intercept. 0:2, which is our y-intercept. Then from here, we have our horizontal asymptote, y is equals to 4, it's this one here. Okay, now we know that our graph has to lie in the first and the third quadrant. It should lie here and there. That should be our graph out in the first and the third quadrant. This is the first quadrant, this is the second one, this is the third, and this one is the fourth quadrant. Alright, now drawing our axis, so our intercept, it is 1:0. 1:0 is right there. 1:0 is right there. And our another one, it will be 0:2, which is right there. And our graph, it will be like that. And on the first axis, we just draw that. You see? This is the first, and this one is our third quadrant. Then our graph, it lies on the first and the third quadrant. That's just a rough sketch of how our graph will look like. Remember, the first thing that you have to draw is the axis of symmetry, and your graph, no matter what, it should never touch these two axes of symmetry. Our horizontal axis of symmetry, which is y is equals to 4, is this one. You see this? That's why we call it a horizontal axis of symmetry, because it's horizontal. and our vertical, which is x, is equals to 2. It's this one which is drawn vertically and it's parallel to the y-axis. Then after drawing the first and drawing the asymptote, you now have to plot your x and y intercept, of which your x-intercept is 1 is to 0, which is this one, and your y-intercept is 0 is to 2, which is this one. Now you just join the 2 points and make sure that your graph, when you draw it, it does not touch the axis of symmetry. No, it doesn't touch the asymptote, I mean to say. Then you do the same on the first quadrant, because we already know that our graph, it has to lie between in the first and the third quadrant, I mean to say. Then this is just a rough sketch, guys, of how our graph should look like. I hope you guys understood, and if you have any question, you will just put it in the comment notes and we'll have a follow-up on it. Remember to subscribe to Math XYZ and to meet me tomorrow, as I will be doing graphs on exponential graphs tomorrow. Remember, thanks guys.